Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, and here you are to fight CPS and stop taking our children. I hope you had a great day, and I'm glad you found me. This is a live podcast that you found me on Facebook, Fight CPS, and that I come on this show twice a day, 7 days a week. That's 14 shows. I'm on at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. Then I come on in the evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for an hour. There are exceptions to this. Like tomorrow, Sunday, I'll be on at 8 o'clock. I have church, and so I like to go to that. So I move my podcast up a couple hours. Friday night, Lights is on, and that's high school football. And next Friday is the big game. It's the big game for the title match in Southern California. And so I'll be going there with my son. And I'm not sure what my time will be. Usually it's 4 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a little bit earlier. Now, next Saturday is a very important Zoom podcast with Mr. Davis. There was one this last Saturday, and actually had a double podcast, one at 8 and one at 10. And I moved my time up to the 10 o'clock because he wanted to have the 8 o'clock slot as well as the 10 o'clock slot. We worked around it. But he's a remarkable man, this Vincent Davis, Vincent W. Davis. He is a bona fide professional lawyer, trained in juvenile and family and dependency law. Family law, dependency law, juvenile law, all goes together. He has 35 years experience. He's a pit bull fighter, and he's fought CPS and gotten children back. He's also fought CPS cases closed and civil lawsuits and won millions of dollars in both state and federal courts. So I encourage you to think about using him because I used him, and he helped get my kids back. And there's several ways I tell you how you can talk to Mr. Davis. Right now on my screen is the number 888-888-6582. That's the law office of Vincent W. Davis Associates. And that's who I work for. Now, who am I? I'm just a family man, a dinosaur. I just turned 75 this last Saturday. But I'm forever young. I've been married for 42 years, and I have 6 children, 3 younger ones and 3 older ones. And unfortunately, I too experienced CPS, and it was out of the Orange County CPS in California, which I found out to be really bad. Now, you hear me talk about CPS, you hear about CPS all the time. What I call CPS is the Child Protection System. Every county, every state will have a child protection system. It may have different names, even among counties. Like in Orange County, it's the Child Protection Service, CPS. But in LA County next door, it's Department of Children and Family Services. In Arizona, it's Department of Children's Services, DCS. So when I say CPS, I mean the child protection systems everywhere. And who is this CPS agency? Well, it's a government agency that's mandated by Congress to supposedly protect our children from neglect and abuse. But there's been some questions built to that. Okay, I had to greet my son, just came home. My podcast is live from my home, which is one of my studios. And I'm in Southern California at Surf City, USA, about 3 blocks from the ocean. And I do have family here, and they come home, and I just told them that dinner was ready. I had dinner ready for my family. And I have a lot of knowledge that I want to help you out. I'm waiting for all these rooms to come in here. We have 7 or 8 groups that come in here, and sometimes they come in real fast. Sometimes they come in slow. Sometimes they come on top of messages, text messages, and sometimes they're repeated. But there are actually 8 rooms. There's 1 YouTube and 7 Facebook groups you can come in on. But it all comes back to here. All your comments are all posted here. Now, as I tell you what this agency, the CPS, Child Protection System, they're supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse. But apparently 1,000 children per day across the country are not being protected. And I would say, I don't know how many are being falsely accused, families, and immediately taking their children. It is so sad. There's 500,000 children being investigated by CPS. That's a lot of children. And so it is a very frustrating matter. I know most of you that come into my room have the worst case scenario like I did. The worst case scenario where you're wrongly accused, your children are taken away from you, your hopes are made up, you get tricked into signing plans, you get tricked into giving your children being abused in foster care, your children being abused by the CPS, they're being alienated and trafficking, which is against the law. So anyway, they're supposed to protect you from neglect and abuse, our children. Furthermore, they're supposed to help out family in need of food, shelter, clothing, transportation, medical, educational, and also help you get a job. That's what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to ask that social worker, I need help. I lost my job. I need food stamps. Or I need, clothing so I keep, my family warm. Or I need help with shelter, So you should not have to go through extremes with them. Now we have our first person. There's many people in this room, but we have our first person that has broadcast message. Let me see who it is. It is Tam Eugenic. Well, that's an interesting name. It's a YouTube profile. But welcome, Tam Eugenic. I'd like to know where you're from in this world. Now, I've talked to over 600 people around the world and the United States. All 50 states have called in or texted me about their problems, including Washington, D.C. 17 countries have the similar problem with CPS. I've heard from Bangladesh, India, the Middle East, the continent of Africa, Europe, then, of course, North America, Central America, South America, then across Pacific to Australia and New Zealand. And Many of you called in asking questions, so I'm open to everybody. I want to help everybody. Okay, uh, Tammy um, is from Oregon, and welcome. And Tammy further says CP is after. I don't know what that means. She says it's after. Blow that up so I can see it. Is after eugenics. Now I have no idea what eugenics is. So if you can tell me what it is, maybe I can um, understand what you're trying to say. Maybe you could elaborate on what that word eugenics means. Eugenics. Well, that's a new one for me. It's always amazed me. I still learn every day that I looked it up. Yeah, I will. I didn't want to interrupt my flow by looking it up because it takes me away from the first part of my podcast is to tell all the new people in this room how to interact. And of course, my 5 rules that help you with your case. Now, besides being in this room, I'm glad you're in here and using emojis and texting me messages. Please, send me stars. Check the box below if you follow me, and then check the notification when you want to know when I'm live. The second way you can interact with this podcast is what Tammy's doing right now from Oregon. She's typing in a comment or a question, a message. All I ask you is you show your first name, your city, or your county where the case was, and your state. Now, if you're from a country, please list your province and country as well as the other part, the city and the first name, and try to be complete with your case. Now, a third way is to be a guest on our podcast. And I really encourage you all to be a guest. And I can take up to 9 people in this room to be a guest. And Grace is my show producer, and she works hard behind the scenes. And I want to thank Grace for all the hard work she does behind the scenes. And I'm glad that she's here because a lot of times I've needed her. But she's the person you're going to write an email to ask to be a guest on one of my 14 podcasts. All you have to do is tell her I want Bob's Wednesday morning show, or Bob's Saturday night show, or Bob's Friday afternoon show, or Bob's morning show. And she will send you a link to get on. And the program that we're using is called StreamYard. It's broadcasting on YouTube, but we use the StreamYard application. And if you get bounced off, don't worry because the link she gave you is still good. Still good. So to be our guest, she'll tell you what to do and not to say and everything else out there. Now, I'm going to go back to Tammy here because she's been still talking. She said, see further here. Dwight Mitchell. He is on YouTube. Okay. I have not met Dwight Mitchell, but thank you for telling me that. I assume that he is in CPS. And then there's Portland, Oregon. That's where she's from. That's great. That's where your case was. And I got 30 years off of it. I was messed up with CPS for 4 years, and then I got 30 years off of it. Okay? And still on my 31 years off of it. Well, wow. Well, Vince has been fighting CPS for 35 years. I've been fighting them for 15 years. And it sounds like you've been in there a long time. I'm so glad to have you, Tammy. I do want to help you there. Now, I've talked about a guest, and the last thing I am going to do is my phone number. It's live now. You can call me at 626-698-0990. And we use Vonage application on the phone. So call me and you'll be live and you can talk about your case. So those are the 4 ways that you can interact. And one thing nice is that you can speak to Mr. Davis if you're a guest or if you call in, because you'll qualify for a free 15-minute session with him, a private consultation, a Zoom meeting with Mr. Davis. And he'll talk to you for 50 minutes. All you have to do is talk on my phone or be a guest on my podcast. And then I will ask you if you like to talk to Mr. Davis. You say yes. Then all I need from you is your name, your full name, your email, and your phone number. And then I'll forward it on to my show producer, who will then set you up with Mr. Davis. And that's for free on those 2 things on the show. Now, if you want to talk longer than 15 minutes, I do have a program with Mr. Davis. It's scrolled across the bottom of my screen, and you can actually talk to him for 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60. All you have to do is go to the website that ticket across the screen is showing. Once at the website, pay your $60 and set up your time, and you'll be able to have a private consultation for 30. So now I give you a chance to either have a free 15-minute session or a $60 30-minute session. Or if you're ready to retain him, you can call in right now at the number on my screen. And it's important that you have an attorney, because fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. When you do open heart surgery by yourself or with a mechanic or maybe a plumber, no, you're going to get somebody expertise, and that's why you need it. And people always come and say, well, I got an attorney. They gave me an attorney. Well, the attorney they gave you is called a court-appointed attorney. And they have just fresh out of law school. They're criminal attorneys, no much experience in dependency law. And they have a caseload of 30 or more clients. They're not going to have time for you, and they don't talk to you except at the time of your hearing. And by then, you have so many questions, it's all messed up. And they won't fight for your case because they're not paid. They're controlled by CPS. So using a court-appointed attorney is a waste of time. I'm not saying don't use them, but be warned is what the in there. Now, Tammy says that Dwight Mitchell is the founder of Family Preservation Foundation. Well, that sounds quite interesting. I'm definitely going to look up that, as well as the term that you used earlier on eugenics. Now, Dwight Mitchell is from Minnesota, okay, and he is an advocate. Well, I hope he's an advocate of parents in fighting CPS, because we need advocates like that. I agree on that. So my rule number 1 is you get an attorney, and a real attorney. The 2 most important questions to ask of any attorney you're interested in getting: 1, are you a family juvenile dependency lawyer? Do you have family law background? Do you have dependency law background? Do you have juvenile law background? All that should be in there and with your attorney. The second question is, you should ask if they ever fought CPS and won. If the answer to those 2 questions is yes, then I think you found yourself an attorney. Because anybody that fights CPS and can get a lawsuit settled for millions of dollars, that's the kind of attorney you want, a pit bull attorney. Now, Tammy further says, CPS has sold 3 of his children. Oh my goodness. I know that they sell. I mean, that's what the adoption is all about. He's on YouTube. Okay, well, I'll check him out. I'll check them out. What about you, Tammy, in Portland, Oregon? What was your CPS case like? Were you in there as a child in foster care, or did they take away your children? Or are you a grandparent whose granddaughter maybe is not taking care of your grandchildren, or her daughter is not taking of the grandchildren, right? So I'm open to all that. Now, rule number 2 is you need to organize your documents. You're going to get tons of court documents, and you're going to be doing your drug testing. You're going to be doing your parenting classes, so you have certifications. You do your programs, drug abuse programs, domestic violence program. You're going to have those certificates. Well, you need to organize all that and have it in one place. So that's why you need to grab a notebook, 3-ring notebook, and notebook paper, college rule, and then subject tabs. And one of the most important documents you're going to create is called the timeline incident log. The timeline incident log is all the incidents you've had with police, your social workers, your school administrators, school teachers, whatever, your friends, relatives, all those people. So all you do is that it takes only 3 lines on the piece of paper for each incident. First line, you put down the date, the time, the location, and who was involved. Then you do a 1-sentence summary of what the incident was about. And your third line is you put the outcome of the incident. That's important. Then you skip a couple lines and do the next sentence, the next sentence. You'll need this because your case may go 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years, and you won't be able to remember everything. So that's why you need to document and keep track of everything. It's so important you have those documents because you need to fight CPS. You have to be a strong fighter. Rule number 3 is to say no to social workers and police. Don't let them in your home. If you hear a knock on the door, don't answer it. Too many people are being killed by answering the door. And it's mistaken identity by police, looking for domestic violence. They got the wrong home. And meanwhile, they shoot the person dead on the spot. I've heard so many cases of people being that way. So don't open the door. Don't answer it. And if it's important, the person will leave a note or they know how to contact you on your phone. Also, if you run into social workers outside, you can tell them, hey, this involves legal matter. By my civil rights or constitutional rights, I'm entitled to a representation. I need to get a hold of my lawyer. I'll get in touch with you, and me and my lawyer will sit down with you. And you don't want to meet them at their office. You don't want to meet them at your home. You want to meet at Starbucks or McDonald's, where it's a public setting. You can record everything. If it's public, then you can record it. Now, let me go back to, as I talk my rules, go back to Tammy here and see what she's now saying. Yes, you can call in, Nancy. All I ask is you tell me your city and your state, or if you're from a country, your country, as well as your city or province. You was an aunt. Okay, that was good, Tammy. Now I know your aunt. My sister has had, my sister had 2 daughters. You're going to get back to me later. Okay, Tammy, I hope you do come back. As I say, I have a new person in the room, Nancy, that I know from, and you can work them to call me at 626-698-0990. I'll just go over the rules that I wish I had followed in my case. And we're talking about rule number 3. And that is where you don't talk to social workers, you don't let them in your home, and you don't let them take your children. There's only 3 ways they can take your children. You give them permission. 2, there's extreme danger with your kids. Domestic violence is happening. They're going to bust in, the police and the social workers. The 3rd way is if they have a court order, a warrant. And the warrant specifically has to spell out everything and who they're charging, and it's got to be signed by a judge on a normal working day. It can't be a copy and everything else. So I strongly urge you to think about what I'm saying about talking to them or letting them in your home or let them take your children. I didn't know better. My children weren't in danger. They're in school, and being in school is not being in danger. But they took my children and put them in more danger into a foster safety house. Good evening.
Hi, I wanted to talk about my case.
Okay. Now, is this Nancy here?
Yes.
Hi, Nancy. Welcome. Nancy, what part of the world are you from?
California.
That's a pretty big state. Do you know what city or county?
Central Valley.
Central Valley. Okay. How can I help you, or can you start the beginning of your case?
So, I'm the non-offending parent, but then CPS didn't give me my children, place the children with me. They didn't actually even contact me until the protective custody warrant was issued against their dad. And as of right now, they still haven't given the children to me. We went to the detention hearing, and the judge didn't give the children to me. They placed the children with their paternal grandfather instead.
Okay. Now, my question to you is that what were the allegations of your husband?
Well, there's not. Well, we're not together.
So
We are divorced. We share custody.
Okay? You said that you once were married and you're divorced.
Correct.
All right. Now, did the who called in to CPS?
The school.
The school. So the school is a trained professional, and they're supposedly know about how to recognize abuse. So was it negligence or was it abuse?
It was abuse, but it was for his stepchildren.
Okay. So the stepchildren had some type of injuries, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So my problem, my thing is that my children they were in his care, and so when CPS removed the children from his care, they didn't automatically place them with me. They did a background check on me. They came and checked my home, declared that I was safe, but they didn't place the children with me. Instead, they placed the children with their paternal grandfather.
Well, here's my question. How many stepchildren did he have? I mean,
4.
Now, were these his biological children or your stepchildren?
So they're his stepchildren. So he has 4 stepchildren, one biological children with new mom, and then I have 4 children with him.
Okay, so you had 4 children. Meanwhile, he had 1 children with another woman?
Yes, and then that other woman has 4 children of her own.
So we're talking about 4 and 4 is 8, and 1 that's 9
Plus
is
1.
9,
yes.
Right? Now,
yes.
Here's how it works in CPS. The first step is that they need to determine whether the children should be taken from the household. Now, were all 9 children with him or with you?
Him.
Okay, so he had all 9 children. Why weren't the 3 children with you that you had with him?
Because it was during his custody time.
When
the children were removed, it was during his custodial time.
So,
he shared custody of 4 children.
Right. Now, the children you had with him, he was the biological father, the 4 children, right?
Correct.
So he's the father, you're the mother. The 4 children should have been placed with you after they checked you all out.
Right, but they didn't.
Now, why did they not do it? Did he give you a reason?
They said it was because by the time they got a hold of me, they had already placed them into grandfather's care. Because when they tried to get a hold of me, they didn't call me. They called stepmom, thinking that was me instead.
Oh, boy. So there's some confusion on that matter. Now, here's my next and very important question. Did you went out and hire a dependency lawyer?
I did not, because this is very new to me and I didn't know what to do. I just found this site today.
Okay, because I know it's very new to you. Because if they provide you a court-appointed attorney, you're up the creek without a paddle. And what I mean by that is that these court-appointed attorneys, see, we have constitutional rights. In any legal matter, if we can't afford an attorney would be appointed for us. The only downside that is the attorney they appoint to you are attorneys trained in criminal law, not in dependency law. Furthermore, those court-appointed attorneys have a caseload of 30 more clients, so they don't have time to talk to you. And lastly, they're not going to fight for your case. They work for the child protection system, and they go along with the flow of things, and they're not going to help you at all. Now, what you need to do is you need to get your first step, as I was going over my rules, is to get you a dependency attorney.
Okay.
Because
we have our jurisdiction dispo in December.
Well, you got to shop along pretty quick here. Here's the thing is that you can try to fight them yourself, or you can try to find a free attorney out there, pro bono, which you're not going to find one that will fight for nothing, and whether they'll do a good job or not. And you yourself won't be able to fight them because you don't know the law that much. It'd be like if your car engine broke down. Do you know how to repair an engine? No, you get a mechanic. And $100 an hour, that's expensive. I know it is. And if you're on limited income, it's really hard. But a mechanic, or what I'm trying to say, a dependency lawyer is very important. As I said earlier, fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. You need an expert that knows how to work on you. You deal with people that lie. They'll bring your hopes up. They manipulate you. The whole purpose why they're doing all this is so that they can get money from you. Not from you, but from the state, who gets it from the federal government. And I'm talking large amounts of money. My 3 children, Orange County was getting paid $60 each of them. That's $60,000 from the state of California, who got the money from Washington, D.C. Because, see, the money is given over with no accountability all the way along the line. On top of that, it's $1 trillion business. They have found, since President Clinton signed into law in 1997, the Incentive Act, where they no longer want to do family reunification. They want to foster your children out, want to have them adopted. So they give the agency money to close out cases, to have them adopted. What that has done, that's ruined the family reunification. So there is some of the quagmire that you're going to be faced with. And I know that your things come there because you're supposed to be contacted because you're a biological parent. Now, as far as the other children, unless you're their guardian or have adopted them, you have no right in the stepchildren that are involved.
Yeah, I don't care about the stepchildren. I mostly
I know that, but some parents really worry about the stepchildren. But you have 4 biological children, correct?
Yes.
All right, those 4 children, what are their ages?
7, 9, 14, 15.
So you got 2 teenagers, and you got 1 adolescent and 1 child. I'm trying to use the right terminology for their ages. And your child and your adolescent need you. There's no question about it. The teenagers need you, but they're at a rough state of life because they may work against you. Are you okay? You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The teenagers may work against you because they may try to pit one parent against another parent or try to use CPS to their advantage. And your teenagers got to know that you love them dearly and that you don't want to be involved in foster care. Foster care is very corrupt. The children will be abused by the foster care's own children. They'll be bullied. And even the foster care parents will molest your daughters or molest your boys. So I'm telling you, foster care isn't any good, especially in California. California is one of the bad states. I know firsthand. And I've talked to many people from California. And one of the worst states is Kentucky, Richmond, Kentucky. And it's a horrible, horrible time. I mean, there is a mother in Richmond, Kentucky that was in and out foster care 5 times. And during those 5 times, as a adolescent, as a child, an adolescent, and a teenager, she was molested, raped, and sexual trafficked. And all that, really ruined um, uh, her, but she survived. She got her high school education, got a college degree in nursing, and unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say fortunately, you all want to have children. So she had 2 children, and she had a son first, who was a special needs son, and then she had her daughter, who was nothing wrong with her daughter, but the agency was so corrupt, they said that she wasn't fit and she had to pick one of the 2 children. They didn't want her son because he's special needs, he's rebellious, he didn't like the foster care system. They knew he was a lot of trouble. So they twisted her arm and said, look, we want your daughter to adopt. And you can pick your son or your daughter. So she picked her son. Unfortunately, the daughter got adopted at 8.5 months and is bonded with the parent. She's 12 now. So the chances of her getting her daughter back are nil. She does want to tell her daughter that she loved her and that it was not her fault that she was taken by CPS.
Yeah, and I feel like my rights were violated as well.
It sounds like it for sure.
So I guess I don't know what I should hope for or what to expect from the system.
Well, the problem is like I say, it's open heart surgery or your car needs repairs. Until you get a professional that will help you, you're not going to get your car repaired and you're not going to get your heart worked on. And that goes to because, see, CPS are really bad. They retaliate. They lie. They're famous for lying. They'll bring you up and then knock you back down. They'll make promises they never keep. And with that President Clinton's Act of 1997, the Incentive Act, their whole purpose is to get money. The more children they have adopted, the more money that CPS will earn. So that's their goal. Their goal is to make money, and I'm talking about trillions of dollars. And it's probably something you don't want to hear, but there is hope. I'm not saying there isn't. And as I explained to you that there are 5 rules that I was covering, and I got to rule number 3 before we had you call in, which is great. I'm glad you did. But you really got to look for attorneys up there. Also, since you talked to me on my phone, you're now entitled to 15 minutes of free time with my attorney, Vincent Davis, private consultation. Would you like that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, he has a dependency. He's the real deal. And I will email my show producer. All I need from you is a number you called on. You text me on that number, your full name, your email, and your phone number. And then I will forward that on to my producer, Grace, and she will set up a time with you and Mr. Davis to have that private consultation for 15 minutes. And during those 15 minutes, use it wisely because he's the real deal. And you may talk about his retainer and how much it is. Now, he has a case of Mount Shasta, California. So I know he works Northern California. He works Riverside, San Bernardino, LA, and Orange County. His office is in Arcadia. But he also works in other states. He has a case in Oklahoma. So I think it's really important that you talk to him because you're going to need to know some advice. He'll tell you the strategies and how to maybe you may talk to him and you may like his retainer fee and you may hire him. And I hired him. I had to sell my house to do so, but he will represent you and do a good job. I know from experience he does.
Okay. What number do I text? This phone number?
This number is 626-698-0990.
Okay.
And you can do that after
I
we
will do that.
complete our phone call. You can do it tonight or tomorrow morning, whatever it is there. But as soon as I get that, I'll pass it on to my show producer who will set up the 15 minutes because that's what you qualify. I so love it when people do call in because I can try to talk to them, and talking goes so much more faster than texting messages. And so I'm glad.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have to leave quite yet. Is there something else you'd like to ask me?
No, that's mostly it.
Well, Nancy, I want you to not give up. But yours is a unique case because you're not married to this man, you divorced this man, and there are so many children involved. There's 9 children, and only 4 of them are yours biologically. So I guess those are the 4 that you have to deal with. And 2 of them you say are teenagers, and 2 of them are younger. And I want you to get them back. They should be with you if they found nothing, no neglect or abuse with you. Because ideally, typically, CPS is supposed to put them with family members, or in your case, the mother. If the mother has a home, been checked out, and you have a safe environment, and you get the kids to school, and you feed them, and you clothe them, and you give them showers and stuff. Those are the things they're looking for. And if you don't have any drug problems or alcohol problems, or you have a safe home in a good environment, you should be fully qualified to have your 4 biological children with you. Now, when you guys got the divorce, what were the custody arrangements of your children? I'm talking about the biological children.
50-50.
Okay.
50-50.
So you have
Legal and physical.
Right. Okay. 50-50. All right. And so you got to be careful because they love to have all 9 of those children. Well, they have them now because you can imagine $20,000 times 9, that's a lot of money. That's $180,000 a month. And believe me, it doesn't take you, I don't think you spend $180,000 on 9 children a month to take care of them.
No.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I gave you some advice, Nancy, that would help you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to take that into consideration.
Right.
I'm probably trying. I'll text you after the call.
Right. And also, I want you to know that I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. There's another podcast that Vincent Davis has every Saturday at 10 o'clock. And he has questions and answers, so he can help you out there. And you're going to take advantage of that 15 minutes, which is good. So I'm glad that you called in. I'm glad to all the listeners out there that are listening. And that if you, Nancy's going to hang up, so my phone will become available. I still got 15 minutes of the show time. So please call in. I'd love to hear about your case, or still text in your messages. And hopefully Tammy will come back. She said she'll get back here later. Tammy had first come on the show that she talked about some interesting quirks in CPS. And she said that she had met this guy named Dwight Mitchell, who's the founder of Family Preservation Foundation. Anyway, it looks like Nancy's signed off. So she was from Northern California, and she had an interesting case where there were stepchildrens and biological childrens and a divorced father, and it's just it was really kind of a hard case there. So anyway, my phone line's open. You're welcome to call in. I don't have much time in my show. I think I have about 10 more minutes left. or is it about 9 more minutes left? So I'm open to take calls, and I love to hear from you. You can text me or call me, or you can send an email to Grace, my show producer, to be a guest. So there's lots of ways you can participate. So Tammy, if you're out there, I'd love to hear from you again. Tammy's from Portland, Oregon, and I'd love to hear from her again. Now, I was just talking about rule number 3, and the part of rule number 3, besides saying no to social workers and police, and besides don't let them in your home and do like that, there's something called medical trafficking. And that's where you take your sick child to urgent care or to the emergency room. And somehow there's social workers that now work in these places, and they listen in, and if they hear something negative, they'll try to take your child from you. Do not let them take your child from you. They have to have a warrant, even if police is present. They use police 2 ways, 1 for protection and 2 for intimidation. A lot of times the social workers go out and talk to family members and get attacked. So that's why the police are there. The other reason is that a police officer in his combat boots and battle fatigue is very intimidating. And they don't know the law either. They're sometimes ignorant to the child protection system laws, or what they're supposed to do, or how far they can go. They will get back to you worse. In fact, I love to hear I've heard from 3 social workers on here, but I've not heard from any police. So I'd love to hear from any of you that are policemen that deal with CPS to tell me how you handle it. And you may not too, because your job may not let you comment on social sites. I'm here to help all you family members, and I want to help you. I don't want you to go without help. And I want to thank Jesus and Liana for your thumbs up. That was nice. And I have most of the people that are from CPS Defense Strategy Room. So that's great. I'm glad to have you all in here. Now, I was talking about medical trafficking. Not only taking your child in the urgent care, you may be a mother that's expecting just having your baby. They also will take babies from the hospital, which is wrong. You may test positive or something. They can't without a warrant. So don't let them take your newborn baby, and tell them to get out of the room or ask the hospital staff to escort them out. They don't have the rights to sit there and use force to take your child. They have to have a warrant. So that is rule number 3. Now, rule 4 is an easy one. That's where you go on the internet and you have to phrase your words right. You want to spend 60 hours researching your CPS case. And you start off with the city and the state. Now, if you're a small city, you may have to put a large city. For instance, Athens, Georgia. You may want to put Athens and Atlanta, Georgia. Then use the acronym CPS. And then type whatever you want to know, like the Operation Procedure Manual. Or maybe you want to file a 388 motion. Or you want to understand the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. Or maybe there's things about how to file a complaint against CPS at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. There are ways you can do that. You can file complaints against judges and also attorneys. It's so important that you treat this case like it's open heart surgery. It's very difficult. And they're going to treat you like you're Alice in Wonderland. You're in the yard, you found the rabbit hole, you fell in, and you meet the Chester cat. And the Chester cat tells you to go from room to room, and you go nowhere. That's what's so bad about CPS. So I constantly tell you, you got to be careful. You got to be careful out there. Now, I have 4 minutes left. And I'm just talked about number 4. And then my last rule is you need to take all your important documents and put them in a folder and envelope. What I mean by important documents are like birth certificates, driver's license, marriage certificates, grade reports, shot records, medical reports, anything of that nature. And you put it all in the envelope or the folder, and then it's really handy. And you keep that along with your notebook, because you'll never know when they ask you a question. Like sometimes they ask the father, "Are you married?" And you can pull out the birth certificates and show the father on the birth certificates, or show the marriage certificates. So I tell you, you got to be really careful out there. Those are my 5 rules. They're very simple. I wish I had followed them. I wish I'd known about them. Maybe my case would be different. But I want to end with a story about a social worker. This is my social worker. She was a woman that didn't have a high school education, no college degree, no license, and not much experience. She wasn't mentored, and she took our children. She was more interested in her Gucci purse, her eyelashes, her makeup, her accessories, her clothing, and her BMW car. Furthermore, when I had hired Mr. Davis, and I had to sell my home to do so, there was a question about my wife's sister and a husband about adopting our daughter. And that was the worst thing to do. We didn't want that to happen. Apparently, her family wanted all of her children. And they're well-behaved children. They're well-mannered. They're sociable. And they're brilliant. They have brilliant minds. They have determination. They're not lazy. And they work hard with all the circumstances. Well, anyway, when she got on the stand to testify if my wife's sister and husband be good parents, he asked her, what kind of parents were they? Are they good parents? Have they had ever domestic violence? And she sat there very proudly, smiled. Oh, they're beautiful parents. They'll make great parents. And no, they've never had domestic violence. Well, then Mr. Davis went to his briefcase, pulled out the folder, and it was about a half-inch thick, and there was 30-some reports. And he read each report. And the social worker's face got really sad. It really came to the end. So hold on one second here. I need to ask a question. One of my family members. Go ahead. Where are you going? I'm back again. So she lied. She committed perjury on the stand. And so she got off with a very sad face. And she retaliated. What she did is she told our youngest daughter, who was 12 at the time, that you're going to divorce your parents and emancipate. So not only did she divorce her mother and father, but her brothers, her grandparents, and her aunts and uncles and cousins. And then she was told to change her name, which she did, and changed and seal her birth certificate, get a new birth certificate, a new social security card, and then be adopted. She's 22 now. We don't talk to her. Mom and dad don't. And we don't understand it, but I guess she's happy with whatever she's doing. But we miss her and love her very much. But that is what social workers can do. They can retaliate. So be careful out there. I want to again thank Nancy for calling in. And I want to thank Tammy for talking to me. And I'll look up some of the things she left me with. And I want to thank you all for all the emojis and being here and the support. Me. And I hope to see you again. I'll be on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That's 8 o'clock Pacific Time. So God bless you all. And this is Bob Pace. There will be a message from Vincent Davis again. This is Bob Pace signing off.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.